somebody getting murdered or, it's a soap opera type of deal. And I just kind of shun away. But you just said two things that I'm about that I could actually gain. So I'm going to be looking when I'm reading this. I'm going to be looking for the spiritual messages. I'm going to be looking for the social economical things because that's what I'm about. Now, if you can, it'll be crazy if I got into novels. Like out of every 10 books, I throw in one novel, one out of every 10. Because right now it's like I can read 100 and there's no novels.
Right.
So
well, I'm gonna make you a believer, my friend. I'm gonna make you a believer.
I'm excited. I'm actually excited. Okay, so do you have any favorite novels that you read that inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, I've already probably said his name too much, but I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. I read all his books, even the stuff that he's put on the internet that he hasn't released yet, and I wish he'd hurry up and release them. But Neil Gaiman, Stephen King, huge Stephen King fan. His paranormal stuff is just absolutely fantastic. How he can get you wrapped up in the story when there's so many sub stories and so many sub stories within the story. George R.R. Tolkien for Lord of the Rings, all the trilogies. Big fan of those. Read all of those. A lot of spiritual messages in those books. I don't know if people catch that or not, or they did it in the movies. But when you read the books, there's a lot of spiritual messages in those. C.S. Lewis, also another big fan of his work. So
these are cult-like. I mean, I've heard a lot about Game of Thrones. I know like LeBron be talking about that a lot, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, but I don't know anything about it. But from what I understand, it's a like you just even said, I can't wait until they hurry up and drop that next one.
Right.
Is that what the seventh spark is the direction? Like, oh, once I finish this one, I'm going to be waiting for that next one. Like, I need that next one.
That is the idea. That is the idea for sure. The first two books, they dropped September 1, and then I have 3 more. It's a 5-book series, and that's only part 1. And then there's 5 more books that come after that. So, it's all about, it's a big world, and it's its own universe. You got to think of it kind of like a Star Wars. It's not a book on Star Wars or anything of that nature, but it's what I mean that is in the terms of the depth of the world that I'm building. The characters that I'm building, the world that I'm building, the universe within itself is a total parallel universe that's totally different. That's going to be focused though on real things. I like to. Even though, and that's what I think that George R. R. Martin does so great at, is that there's all these fantasy elements, and there's dragons, there's knights, there's walking zombies, and all this other stuff. But he tailors that all. He tailors the story around real characters that you can really relate to, that have real issues, and it's not this. These magical beings that they never do anything wrong, and one's always good, one's always bad. No, it's more tailored around how real humans behave and how real situations come up, and that's what I have tailored my book around. Is that you have a lot of fantasy, you got a lot of things going on, but the characters themselves are very in depth. They've got habits like normal people. I've got one guy that constantly chews a toothpick incessantly. I've got people bickering and fighting like they would normally do. Normal would happen in your own household. It is very rooted in real things.
So if a production company, was to pick up this book, this series, and want to turn it into a movie, would you want to play one of these characters?
That's a great question. Absolutely. And the person that I would want to play would be Valantis Wright. And Valantis Wright, he is a knucklehead that grew up on the wrong side, grew up in the streets. Mama abandoned him. He was a prom dumpster baby kind of a situation. And through very mysterious circumstances, or he has a life-changing event. I don't want to go into it too much, but he has a life-changing event that changes his whole perspective. And he's basically out, is kind of the righteous part of my book series. He goes out and he wants to explore what does justice truly mean, and what does being righteous truly mean. And he recruits a bunch of people, and they become their own entity. And I would absolutely love playing that part.
Love it. And as we're winding down, I'm curious to know, for our listeners that are aspiring writers, what is the hardest thing about becoming a writer, and what are some of the things that you weren't prepared for before you became a writer? That they didn't teach you. No one taught you, hey, this is gonna have to come up. This came up, yeah.
Well, one of it is, and I didn't start off, I haven't had a career in writing. I've been a creative writer all my life. But it was a situation of, hey, I've got this story, let me try to tell it. And I think the biggest thing is, you've got to kind of hone in and learn your craft. I spent 3 years just learning, just learning the craft, because even though you might have a great story in your head, and you might have a good outline, and you might have, some key points that you want to hit on, to actually produce a book, it's very difficult, because there's a lot of transition. There's a lot of word transitions and story arcs and things that you've got to consider. And it's very hard to piece all that together in something that flows, correctly, that a reader can understand. And so I spent, 3 years just going to writers groups, and just throwing my stuff out there, and they were rough. I mean, just rough drafts, and they would get murdered, and that's fine. That's what I came for, and that's how I think I was able to, try to hone my skills and get better, and the other thing I would definitely say to aspiring authors is, you need help. You got to have a team. I didn't do this on my own. I have an editor that helps me. I have people constantly reviewing and looking at my stuff. I even have, my sons, who never read for entertainment, looking at it, spotting out different things, and constantly getting reviews. Reviews are so critical, because, and the thing is, I pay way more attention to the bad reviews than the good ones, because a lot of times the good reviews, they're just placating you. They may not even thought it was good. They just, hey, leave me alone. Yeah, it was great. I want to hear the bad reviews, because I want to go see one. I want to see where it comes from, because I want to understand that market, and perhaps I wasn't in my target market. Some people, say, hey, this book is, too much horror in it for me, or this or that. Okay, you're not in the market. I'm not gonna focus on that. But the ones that really have some very constructive feedback, I can take that, and I can go and do something about it. So I get more excited about a bad review than I do a good one.
It's actually good. Okay, so aspiring writers, at what age did you learn how to read for entertainment?
Pretty early, I would say. My parents were pretty good about getting me books, going to the library back when that was a thing. You go to the library and get a book and read. I said I probably really got into it when I was 7, 8 years old, and with the Choose Your Own Adventure books, and I'd read those all the time.
So your parents would get you books. Are you saying at the age of 7, 8 is when you started asking them for books?
Yeah, they would take me to the library, and I could pick out whatever I wanted. And then I would mostly pick either it was a comic book, or I would pick a Choose Your Own Adventure book. But I really got into those and really started reading those for entertainment. It wasn't until later that I started reading, bigger things like the Odyssey and the Iliad and all of those different things. But it came from those Choose Your Own Adventure books, because it was all about an adventure and a quest. And so then I really started to get into books that were about quest and adventure, and I've carried that forward to today.
All right, dope. So as we're winding down, again, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with J.B. Lyon, the author of The Seventh Spark. Will be coming out September of 2020. And you could catch him at jblion.com. That's J as in John, B as in boy, Lion as in Nancy.com. We have a ritual here, JB Lyon. Do you have three of the greatest books that you've ever read off the top of your head?
Oh man. Well, I've said I've already the Game of Thrones 5-book series. Of course, it's supposed to be 7, but they haven't come out yet. Let me see. I would have to say the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and then I would have to say Stephen King's The Stand.
The Stand.
Mm-hmm.
Stand.
That's right.
Okay, sweet. We got some avid readers here, man. When that book comes out, I'm gonna go to the website within today and tomorrow, and I'm definitely gonna get that. You said I could get a sneak peek chapter. If anybody can get it, if they go to your website, they can get a sneak peek chapter if it's before September, right?
That's correct. Yeah, they can do that. You just have to sign up for my email list, and I'll send you out the first chapter for my first book.
All right. And do you have a price point, like how much it is when it comes out? Have an idea of how much that's going to be?
So this is a nice. I'm glad you asked it. Nobody else has asked me that. This is what's nice is for I got a couple of options. So for people who are more fit to the the comic book style, I get why people read comic books. Is one, it's not a lot to read and it's cheap. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I did it a couple different ways. So the full book. The full visual novel, in your hands, it's going to probably be about 300 pages. That's going to be available for $19.99 that you can get on traditional paperback. But if you say, hey man, I don't have that kind of money for that, and I just want to read episodes, I'll have episodes available on ebook, and each episode is going to be $1.99, and you can read the episodes that way. So I kind of give you a couple different options.
Nice. Okay, I like that. I mean, $19.99. I'm gonna just get the whole thing. $19.99. That's in the price range of books that I get now. You get a book for $30, $40, but a novel is entertainment. So as they say, people pay more for entertainment than education. So,
right.
Yeah, I'll definitely pick it up. So yeah, that's. Do you have anything that you would like to share before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I definitely appreciate the time. I also appreciate, we're talking about social justice issues and current issues. I think those are very important. Now more than ever, man, Blacks, as a community, just try our best to support one another, and so anything that I can do to help support you, let me know on what you're doing, because I think it's important. I don't know exactly how, as a country, we get through this, but I am glad that it looks like, a lot of people that don't look like me are starting to listen a little bit.
Absolutely.
So I think we got to take that and run with it, and not be cynical about it and say, well, hey, they're just listening for now. Let's take it and run with it and try to be the best positive we can, because it's better than it was before. At least that they're at least starting to listen a little bit. And so, take that, and best that we can do is do the best in our own communities and try our best on our own. But I think there's a lot of people that want to see change, and they just don't know where to start. And the easiest is just to start with yourself. You know what you can do. People that you influence, and just start there. And at least that's you're taking a stance instead of just sitting still and doing nothing.
Absolutely. And I think it would be great if time permits in your schedule. I know things are going to really pick up once the book is released, but we would love to have you come back, at least when I read the book, just so I could give my reaction to it, my breakdown of it. We could go back and forth. And have a better conversation. But I would love to have you come back maybe in October, November, just so we can give a review and update everybody. But
that'd be awesome, man. And I would, I want to love to hear your feedback.